Welcome back. Charter schools are a school of hard knocks. What began with questions from the parents of a second grader at the Island Village Montessori School about why parents were no longer being allowed to walk their kids to the classroom is now an investigation by the state's attorney's office. After Jeff and Jean Buck questioned school policy, their kid was kicked out. When they and other parents asked for school records and an explanation, they were rebuffed. Now there's a complaint. Florida's Sunshine Law has been violated. Just today, the state's attorney's office agreed to look at Sunshine Law charges against the school and its board of directors. And joining us for more on the situation is Eric Robertson, a member of the Sarasota County School Board, former Sarasota Mayor Kelly Kirshner, whose children attend the Montessori school. He's also Dean of Executive and Continuing Education at Eckerd College, and Michael Barfield, Vice President of Florida's ACLU. Gentlemen, welcome. And Eric, I'm not going to ask you to answer for the school because the school is not commenting, but they do receive public money. And people who are watching this might want to know, why are they not as responsive as maybe they should be to the parents of children who go to the school?
The Sarasota County Schools does monitor the school. When this issue came up, clearly mistakes have been made. The Sarasota County School Board went down to the school, to the charter school, showed them some of their errors, are working through that, and we hope that these type of instances will stop. I'm not here to defend the school. I'm not here to defend their action. I think that people should be able to speak at the board meetings, and we're just making sure that they fulfill their contract with the Sarasota County School District.
It's not just speaking at board meetings. Kelly, you were at these meetings and you tried to ask questions. Some of these questions went to the background of the principal of the school. Did you ever get answers to the questions that the Bucks were trying to raise?
And it wasn't just the Bucks. I think, and this goes to a larger conversation really about charter schools and accountability, which is what I would, probably most like to speak to. It's unfortunate the viewers didn't get to see the full tape of that meeting, but if you want to talk about, just a complete lack of accountability to taxpayers, not to mention the parents at a school, we were greeted initially at a Venice location. The school is in Sarasota, and there were no chairs available, and we were told that we didn't RSVP for a public meeting. At the end of the meeting, during public comment, we are told that only one parent can speak per agenda item, and if it wasn't on the agenda, then you couldn't speak. And then you'll see the board chair will interrupt incessantly, and no parent effectively was allowed to communicate, in spite of multiple requests made, and this dates back to September, to have a meeting with an agenda item for parents and the board to discuss what is a dismissal policy. We're now in late April. We still have not convened such a meeting. The board has not allowed that to happen. And, with all, support and respect for what Eric and his colleagues on the school board are trying to do, if that is not empowered to our local school board, we need to march hand in hand to Tallahassee, and this is something that needs to be changed. That how can you have, the 100%, nearly 100% of that budget is funded by our tax dollars. There should be some level of accountability. There should be a clear, demonstrable, written due process for kicking someone out, and I think by Eric's admission, it needs to be changed.
There are a lot of different issues that we need to discuss here, including what right the parents had to what they were asking for, and what is the ACLU's position on that?
Well, the ACLU definitely supports transparency for charter schools. They're required by law to comply with the Sunshine Law, with the Public Records Act, and a parent especially has the right to question their local school officials about what is going on in the school, whether it's the principal, the teacher, policies, etc. So this was a clear violation of the Sunshine Law. There's no doubt that there was denial of access, First Amendment rights at a public meeting, and for the first time in the history of this jurisdiction, the Sheriff's Office concurred that there was a criminal violation of the Sunshine Law. Right. But this is not unique to just this school. Charter schools have a problem.
Obviously, we are just getting started. We will pick up the discussion right after a check on the weather, so stay with us. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, we are discussing the Island Village Montessori School. It's a charter school with locations across the Suncoast, and now it's facing legal problems for an alleged Sunshine Law violation. Our guests tonight are Eric Robertson, a member of the Sarasota County School Board, Kelly Kirshner, a former mayor of Sarasota. His kids go to the Island Village Montessori School, and Michael Barfield, the vice president of the Florida ACLU. Gentlemen, I think it's important to talk about the difference, or what is a charter school as opposed to a public school and a private school, and therefore whether parents have the rights to have and know some of the information that these parents were seeking. So, Eric, in your opinion, do these parents have the same rights to ask questions and get answers as any kid who goes to a Sarasota County public school?
Yes, the distinction, like we were talking about during the break, between a charter school and a public school is none. In fact, in Sarasota County School District, when we talk about our population in the public schools, we include the charter school students in our count. So we see no differentiation for that. And there is a certain amount of responsibility, and we do have a certain amount of monitoring, but also you've got to understand that when the legislators created these charter schools, they gave them a certain amount of autonomy and a flexibility so that they can do things how they want to do them. So, for example, this school we're talking about, they teach things in a Montessori format. They don't have to follow the curriculum of the school district. They don't have to buy the textbooks that we do. They're able to teach it in a different manner. But although they still have to do the FSA and the testing, they are allotted a certain amount of freedom. The question is Mr. Kirshner would say, is how much freedom is the right amount?
They certainly don't get the freedom to choose whether they're going to observe the Sunshine Law or the public.
No, that was not my intent. I wasn't trying to
understand that. But that is a distinction that's no different between a public school and a charter school.
And they do have a student and family handbook that I believe is submitted to the county school board, by which will govern their activities and procedures, and it was clearly not observed in the expulsion of this child from the school, which is part of the reason why we've, since it took place in early September, we've asked since then to have a meeting with that agenda item specifically there to speak with the board. The only meetings that have been convened, never with that as an agenda item, are in Venice, and Eric reminded me at the break that I should be clear that there is a campus in Venice, but let's be clear, this is a school in Sarasota, off of Clark Road, all of the parents living in Sarasota. The meetings that have been convened are in the middle of the workday. These are all working families. It's almost, there's a level of violence, if you will, against the parental participation that flies in the face of what best practices are that are generally accepted throughout the world of parental engagement, that are now violating the Sunshine Law, that violate the contract that parents have with the school that's been submitted to the school board.
So, and the parents have to sign a contract, and the students have to sign a contract. So,
but Eric, you said that the school board has talked to the charter school
staff at the school.
Okay, right. About these concerns. It doesn't sound like anything has been resolved.
Well, I believe that we have shown them how to correct the situation. It's my understanding that they are correcting that situation, and that these problems won't happen in the future.
Right.
So I just, as a parent there, I'd like to understand what is the situation that's been corrected, because what I just explained to you has not been corrected. It's never been addressed by the board, and they've basically acted in a way that it is bothersome for the parents to even try to address this and understand what actual due process is to expel a child from a school.
Are you saying that there has been sunshine violations after, since this time has this been discovered? Hold on. Has there been sunshine violations? Have students been expelled since that time?
That's going to be adjudicated probably now at the state attorney's office.
Have students been expelled since that time?
Well, that's not the question. To me, the question is, have they cured their violations? Because a sunshine violation is ongoing until it's cured. Have they cured those violations that that you seem to acknowledge that occurred?
I agree they occurred. We were talking about going forward. If future
there are a
meetings
number
have
of
been
questions
cured.
here. Number one, have parents been able to get the information they were seeking about the backgrounds of the principal and the staff?
The public records request that was initiated by the Bucks, the day after it was requested is the day their child was expelled. Subsequent to that, they did receive the information on that individual's background. What really was of concern for many families was, if you could do that to their child, why can't it happen to us? You heard in the interview, is because there was bullying behavior. That through their public information requests, they have everything that I believe Michael and members of the ACLU have reviewed, and I've reviewed it personally because it's very disturbing to me. I have children in the school, and let me be clear, the in-classroom instruction is wonderful. There's a reason why I'm there. But I also feel that just like any good advocate and taxpayer, we should also demand the accountability and professionalism of an institution as well.
I would imagine that there would be concern, whether it's from the school board or parents, that should Here's the question. Should this litigation go forward? Should the state's attorney's office pursue it? Is the school in danger? And what happens to these students if it is?
Well, let me say unequivocally the state attorney's office should go forward with the investigation and charge the chair of the board with the sunshine violation that the sheriff's office
It's a misdemeanor.
found that there was probable cause for. But the importance of why is that charter schools across the board, not just this one, have a problem with accountability and transparency. They act like they're different. They're somewhat treated differently as it relates to their curriculum choices and so forth. And that carries over into them thinking that they're different.
Alan, let me give you a quick vignette on that, just to put it in real terms. We have asked to be notified when the board actually meets. We've been told that the school publishes it in the Sarasota Herald Tribune, and we said, you email us multiple times per week, you send us text messages, would you mind, so that we can engage you in a thoughtful, respectful manner, to include that in our emails or in text messages?
They should.
And they have not, and they have refused.
And that's wrong.
Eric, let me give you the last word. We only have about 30 seconds
I just
left.
want to give you another difference. In the Sarasota County Public Schools, principals have to have a certain amount of qualifications, and there's no qualifications for a principal of a charter school, while teachers have to be certified, which is why he's saying good things about the classroom. Principals in charter schools, there is no such requirement. Board can hire whoever they want, which is a problem, which is put on by the legislature, not by the Sarasota County
We
School
can all
Board.
make you principals of the charter school. Let's take a quick break, and when we return, we'll have final thoughts from our guests. Plus, what some of our viewers are saying about last night's topic, Florida's death penalty sentencing system. Welcome back. Charter schools receive taxpayer dollars, yet school boards have limited authority over them. Does this need to change, and what can we expect to see happen with the alleged sunshine law violation at the Island Village Montessori School? Our guests join us right now for final thoughts. Michael, your concern is the issues here have still not been resolved.
The issues and mistakes that occurred here have not been corrected. So that's the first step. Correct the mistake by noticing all the meetings that did not comply with the sunshine law. That's the way, under Florida law, we cure violations that have occurred. So that's one problem. The second problem is there a larger issue among charter schools in general throughout the county and throughout the state that they are not following minimum transparency requirements? I think the answer to that is yes, based upon what I've reviewed. So I welcome the state attorney's investigation, and I don't think it should be limited to this particular school.
Kelly, obviously, I mean, is there any mechanism for you and other parents who are this concerned to change the board so to resolve this problem?
No, and unfortunately, one of these meetings that was held out of the sunshine and did not follow the advertised dates, they actually used that to eliminate the parental position on the board. There was a non-voting position. They actually just removed it from the bylaws so that, again, a parent couldn't be there. I think Eric and I and Michael are probably in agreement that this system is flawed. Eric is a member of our school board and I think powerful statewide, and I would love to go with him and other parents and Michael and actually talk to people in Tallahassee and talk about a parental bill of rights in charter schools that talks about these things that we're hearing now that are really egregious and zero accountability for a taxpayer.
Eric, respond to that, but plus, is there anything else the school board can do to help resolve this situation?
I would be happy to go anytime, anywhere with Mr. Kirshner. But yes, we do have staff go out there. We do regular monitoring. But I also wanted to say that we have a lot of great charter schools. That's why Mr. Kirshner keeps his kids there. 15% of our total school students are in charter schools, 6,000 students, and most of them are working fine, and the kids are getting great educations.
Okay. Gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us tonight. Before we go, we want to share with you what some of our viewers are saying about last night's topic, Florida's death penalty. Last year, the U.S. Supreme Court found the state's sentencing system in death penalty cases unconstitutional. Under the new law signed last month, juries must now vote unanimously to put a person to death. This means hundreds of people convicted under the previous law can now appeal for resentencing, including Joseph Smith, the man who abducted, raped, and murdered 11-year-old Carly Bruscia here on the Suncoast back in 2004. Here is what some of you are saying about the change. Diane Gutzwiller writes, "He had no mercy for that poor child. We should have no mercy on him." Jennifer Regalis Grimes writes, "He will die either way, and it will be in prison. Death as a sentence only allows him to die earlier, living longer in prison could be worse of a sentence. And Patrick McCarthy writes, the guy's going to burn in hell either way. Let us know what you think about charter schools and the lawsuit against the Island Village Montessori School by visiting our Facebook page at facebook.com/news@7. If you'd like to join the conversation on tonight's topic, just visit our Facebook page. And FYI, you can watch past Roundtable discussions on demand. They're available on Apple TV, Amazon Fire, and Roku. Thanks to our guests for being here tonight. Eric Robinson is on the Sarasota County School Board, and Kelly Kirshner is a former mayor of Sarasota. He also sends his kids to the Island Village Montessori School, and Michael Barfield is vice president of Florida's ACLU.